Oh, hello. This is Yuris Kaja coming at you from Riga. Been a little bit remiss in updating my video blog or doing another one about things going on, and a lot of stuff has been going on. Latvia, thanks to a very sharp rise in new COVID infections and also a rather dramatic rise in deaths, has implemented what amounts to a near total lockdown. Almost all public events are banned. Gatherings indoors and outdoors are extremely restricted and limited. And the latest kind of steps that the government has taken mean that only essential goods can be sold on the weekend and in shopping centers, which means groceries and pharmacies. And also, they have banned the sale of alcohol and tobacco on the weekend. Uh, how that relates to increased COVID infections when someone who is buying toothpaste or canned vegetables cannot go over to the next aisle and buy a bottle of wine, that's kind of outrageous, sort of, and that's what people have been saying on social media after this was announced. There is very much an air of crisis. A state of emergency was already declared on November 9th. It was supposed to end on December 9th in a few days, but as things now look, it has been extended by the government until January 11th. And the only thing one can do outdoors, up to 25 people may gather in some kind of a meeting or political protest or picketing action. So this is a sort of token measure to at least allow a modicum of constitutional free speech, free expression, right to petition the government kind of thing here. Masks now have to be worn indoors everywhere except in your own home, where you may have no one visit except your own family members who can sort of be there with whoever you live with, but it is strongly forbidden and discouraged to go out and meet anyone, which sort of puts a big damper on Christmas and the New Year, with the idea that this is necessary to prevent a further spread of COVID. Now, the latest statistics today, Wednesday, December 2nd, is that in the last 24 hours, 690 people have been detected as infected, and 14 people have died, and the capacity of Latvian hospitals to provide COVID patient care, both for people who are moderately sick and both those who are in critical condition or in serious condition, is almost nearly exhausted, and elective surgery and elective medical treatments that require hospitalization are being put off. So the pressure on the already somewhat rickety Latvian medical and healthcare system is now at a critical point, and this is why these measures have been taken. And there have been, every other day is a new government crisis meeting or press conference to explain what they're doing and so forth and so on. There will also be additional border controls in Latvia from people, against people entering from by land in private cars or buses. Everyone coming in by air or by rail has already been asked to fill in an electronic so-called COVID pass so that that person can then be traced to see whether that person is self-isolating and whether that person has had any contact since going into Latvia, and maybe whether that person, if he wants to work, he or she wants to work here or be more active, whether they've taken COVID-19 tests and so forth and so on. So, situation is pretty serious and depressing, and I guess not even you can go out on a Saturday or Sunday or on a holiday to buy some alcoholic drink or to get a pack of cigarettes or some kind of stuff for your one of these smoking machines that people are now using, for better or worse. I don't smoke. I do enjoy having a drink now and again, and I guess we'll just have to stock up, or things will be like I remember back in Sweden in the 1980s when alcoholic beverages were sold at the state monopoly Systembolaget only 5 weekdays, and of course on Friday there were always huge mobs of people trying to stock up for whatever they were up to on the weekend. Well, we'll see how that goes. According to news reports now, even Sweden, which was basically taking a "oh well, let it rip" kind of attitude toward the virus, is now uh, tightening restrictions and taking certain measures. What else has happened? I don't know if I've mentioned this earlier, but there was a decision by the Constitutional Court of Latvia that basically extended equal parental benefit rights to same-sex couples, because there was a woman who actually I believe is legally married by way of a foreign country to in a foreign country within the EU to her partner, who requested that she be given paternal or a father's leave on equal terms with someone who would actually be the biologically male father of the child. And the Supreme Court, basing its, or the Constitutional Court, basing its decision on notions of human dignity and equality and European standards of human rights, said, well, look, you have to give these equal rights also to same-sex couples, and you have to recognize that same-sex people or people who are not married are a family. A family is not restricted by the provision in the Latvian constitution, adopted a mere 15 years ago, that marriage can only exist between a man and a woman, and by implication that a family can only be something that is founded by, a man and woman being married. Never mind that they may not be married, B, one of the partners may be dead or absconded, and the child may be raised by other adults who are neither married and can be of various sexes, same sex, mother, grandmother, mother, sister, whatever, father, brother, father, uncle, who knows. Anyway, there's more recognition for what the court also called social reality. Now, there's some people in Latvia who are totally freaked out about this court decision and say it goes against all tradition and values and, what we've done for hundreds of years. Well, hundreds of years ago, the only way you could get married was in a church, and hundreds of years ago, or just a little bit over 100 years ago, women could not vote in this country. Women had diminished property rights. So I think, the time has come to smack some of these people upside the head and say, it's the 21st century, sorry, this is social reality. You either accept it or, go to some more accommodating place for your views like Poland or Russia. Anyway, that's that. Also, this week, the Latvian government, the Latvian Parliament, or Saima, adopted the 2021 budget after a record-long 8 days of debating hundreds and hundreds of possible amendments and points, not only in the budget, but in all the enabling laws, the specific enabling laws that come with such a thing. In past years, this has not taken a long time, and some of the biggest marathon debates have happened when simply they carried on until 2 or 3 in the morning in a 1 or 2 day debate. In this case, of course, everything was being done online, or mostly online. And one interesting observation as to why this may have dragged on for 8 days, other than that the opposition was sort of organizing, those of you in the U.S. would understand what I mean. There's sort of a quasi-filibuster, having the same people come talk about the same things and get nowhere with it, but nonetheless carry the, delay the process, is that everybody, or a lot of people, were comfortable where they were. They were sitting at home. They were sitting in a residence that they have in Riga if they're parliamentarians from far out in the countryside. So there's no pressure. I mean, when the session is over, it's not like you have to drive an hour to someplace outside of Riga in the dark, and you just sort of switch off your computer and roll over and go to bed or turn on the TV. So this kind of comfort of remote online debate may have been a factor in dragging the whole thing out, but there were also a number of interesting issues, namely the taxation of so-called creative workers and mini enterprises, which had been getting some pretty good tax breaks, but also somewhat logical tax breaks. If you're a sculptor and you're going to be paid 20,000 euro for hacking something out of a piece of granite over the next 2 years, well, your income is going to come when you deliver that thing. In the meantime, you're paying for all your chisels and work and everything, and maybe doing some side projects just to keep, bread on the table. But you don't have any regular income. Your income has to be sort of backdated then when you pay or when you are paid for your sculpture. So as a result, there was a great deal of objection to this knowledge that everybody should pay a basic social tax of 170 euro a month. Now the formula has been changed. You sort of pay 25% on your actual income, and then that is divided. 80% of that sum goes to the social taxes and your sort of social protection, and 20% goes to income tax. And you need a tax accountant or lawyer to figure that out. But that was debated. There were other issues as well. But finally, the budget has been passed. It passed with a 3.9% of GDP deficit, which is over the limits that the European Union set back in pre-pandemic days. But I think it's probably perfectly all right now because the money is needed to support people who are furloughed from work, whose companies have lost 20% of revenue or more, and who've met other conditions. So the government is going to be spending a lot of money on at least attempting to keep people who are impacted economically by the pandemic sort of above water. And basically, well, that is what has been going on here. As you can see, I'm babbling away here in the evening, which I don't usually do, but I had a busy day. I had to do a story for Effie on these the Spanish news agency that I write for on these new restrictions, and I also had to write up the budget and that sort of thing. So that's that. Signing off from Riga, Latvia. This is Juris Kasha.